Welcome, everybody, to the Fusion Power Podcast. I'm your host today, Jared Gillespie. I've got some awesome guests today. We've got our I'm our CSO. We've got our CEO, Trey Scalzon, with us.
Sure do.
We've got our COO, Jason Gallagher.
Hey now.
And we've got a special guest, Mr. Solar himself, Jake Hess, is in the studio today.
Everybody, how you doing?
Welcome, Jake. Thank you for coming down from Vegas today.
Vegas, yep.
I asked Jake to be on this podcast a few weeks ago and didn't clarify that this was going to be in person.
But I like the travel, I like the fun.
I confirmed this with him. He's like, oh, this was in person, huh? I'm like, yeah. So appreciate you coming down. Today we're going to be talking about a huge event coming up here later this month. We've got SolarCon 2023 happening in Salt Lake City on the 19th through the 22nd of April at the Salt Palace, downtown Salt Lake City. Be there or be square, right, guys?
Yeah.
We're going to chat all about that today. Jake is a little bit of an intro. I think everybody in the industry knows you, right? Everybody knows you from your awesome training platform, your big Facebook group. You know everybody in the industry, and obviously now with running SolarCon. Can you kind of give us a background, like what was Jake Hess? Where did Jake Hess come from before he became solar famous, as we say in the industry? Tell us your start, kind of the start in the door-to-door industry. How did that start for you?
It was at a Quiznos, actually. Are those around still? It was at the Quiznos.
Yeah, they are.
The barbecues.
Delicious hot sandwiches.
I'm gonna have to go back to that. I was with my friends. I was younger, and all we did was just mess around, go on dirt bikes, go play with friends, whatever we did at that time. But they took me to a Quiznos, and they said, "Hey, Jake, we're gonna go do something this summer." I'm like, "Sweet, what are we doing?" Like, no, we are. And I'm like, "What? You guys are leaving me?" Like, well, maybe. This is why we got you Quiznos. We wanted to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, what's happening? These are my very best friends, right?
You didn't know that they were like whining and dining you at Quiznos now, right?
No, I didn't know that.
No, that was a solid.
I learned later what whining and dining was. Quiznos was what I got. But they sat me down. They're like, "So we're gonna leave to Detroit." I'm like, "Right on. When are we leaving?" And they said, "No, we're gonna go work. We're gonna go work for the summer. We're gonna go knock doors. And you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, when are we leaving?" And that's how I signed up. It was over. That loud thunder that you heard was me slamming onto the equipment that they told us not
aggressive.
to. Sorry.
He's being aggressive.
Excited.
Yeah.
So you went out, that first summer you were doing alarms? Did you start?
Home Security 05, yeah. Knocked doors for a very, very long time. Then eventually switched over to solar and tried to knock doors, but then I moved to San Diego. That was a mistake because it's summer year-round, and if you miss it for 10 years, you kind of want to do it. And so I did it for 2 years straight, spent every single dollar that I have, and every girl that I dated spent their money. They hated me. They broke up with me. So I would find a new one and tricked her. That's baby mama today. Joke's on me. No, and she, supported me for a while until I spent all her money. And told
A
her,
real
"Don't."
catch.
Yeah, I was amazing. Alcoholic. She's like, don't worry. Like, I was like, don't worry. I'm a sales guy. I can go out and make 10 grand in a day if I want to. This is 2 years later, right? I'll make 10 grand in a day if I want to. And she just finally didn't believe me anymore. And she left me. And I couldn't afford rent, couldn't afford anything. I'd borrowed money from everybody. Called my landlord, and she said, oh, that's when I decided to start a business, by the way, my solar company. And she said, she was Asian from San Francisco. Her name is Michelle. And she said, "Oh, you start business? It's no problem. You don't pay me for 6 months. It's okay. Okay, got to go. Bye." And I was like, "What?" I couldn't believe that happened. It was insane. So 4 months later, started the business. 4 months later, wrote her a check for the full amount. Got Nicole back, and we had a rocky road ever since. But as of the last 6 months or so, Trey, was it?
Yeah.
When maybe just before that, we've been amazing. It's been like cloud nine. It's been like how it should have been. I stopped drinking. I stopped being a loser, and cleaned up my act. And money was around for a long time with her. That wasn't the loser part. The loser part was just I didn't realize how wrong I was on so many things. And so there was a pivotal shift that happened, and realized how wrong I was and fixed it. and she stuck with me through all of that. And now everything's pretty beautiful.
Good for you.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
What do we say at Fusion Power, Jason?
A lot of things.
How do we win?
Oh, you can't win at work unless you're winning at home.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Jake for big win at home.
That's a big win at
That's a
home.
redemption story right
Everything
there.
in life has been so much better. Sharing that with, like, having that relationship with my son's mom, even just from his perspective, I see the differences of how we used to interact as single parents and now how he interacts with us as parents together.
It's huge.
It's very different.
Well, what a cool insight too, you know, because from the outside, I didn't know that about you. So I appreciate you sharing that. But from the outside, everybody just sees you as this iconic sales dude that just runs the industry, right? Not knowing what,
know about
no, it's not, I'm serious though. I mean, that's what your reputation is, right? But like people don't know about all the stuff that you're going through. So I think that's freaking awesome that you're continuing to work on yourself the same way that hopefully everybody else is that listens to this thing.
You know, it's weird. I genuinely do not feel like I'm doing anything. I genuinely don't. This is where I started to learn what the phrase means, that you are who you hang out with. That's the only thing I can attribute all of this to, because I went to RoofCon and I hung out with Brad Mortensen and Devin Oaks and some of these really solid guys. And, you know, he started asking questions to Ed Milet, and then we went to a dinner afterwards, and I was astonished at how powerful they thought his words were, you know. And it was about family. It was all based around family. And I was like, "What are you guys talking about? Let's get back to the real stuff. Let's talk about business and so, you know." And that's not what they cared about. They didn't care about the stuff they learned or how they're going to apply it at work. They cared about the home life, the family life. And you know, then I started hanging out more and more with Solar Joe, you know, Trey now, and you know, Brent Adaway, and I started formulating this circle of people in the industry that just, and not even on purpose, that just are very solid at home, financially stable, make smart decisions, kind to everybody, right? And it's just, and I would say it was these circles that really transformed me. I didn't really do anything other than they said, "Hey, this works," and I tried it, and then it worked.
You tried it though. That's the big part, right? Is you made the decision. That's awesome. No, I appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing all that. Let's talk a little bit about SolarCon. So last year was the first one. We're going into SolarCon 2 this year. What was the genesis for SolarCon? What gave you the idea to try to put together this massive conference? Because it's a huge undertaking. We were talking about this, but what in the world made you think that this is something you wanted to do?
Yeah, because you ran a conference. I didn't even know. Was it the Man Show?
The Man Expo, yeah.
The Man Expo?
Yep.
Man, that must be difficult because you have to bring the manliness, right?
And I'm not a manly man. I'm just not.
I like
So
that you're very acutely.
Yeah.
That must be very difficult for you.
skinny wrist.
How did you pull that
you know,
off?
I couldn't do it. I'll tell you that right now. Emotions would come out of me. Men don't have emotions, right?
Where's the red meat?
Yeah. I'd fake all that. Where'd it come from, the inspiration?
Yeah, what made you think about just doing this conference?
It's just, I don't know, it just seemed like the next great thing to do. I tell this to people quite a bit. Everything that everyone does, everyone moves in the masses for a reason, right? But when they move in the masses, when everyone moves in the masses, they forget that everyone is there with them. And that is no longer the right way to do it, in my opinion. If everybody is moving a specific direction, that's time for me to look this way and be like, okay, well, what's over here? Mm-hmm. Everyone says knocking doors at prime time is between 5 and 9. I found that was true until I started knocking from 9:30 a.m. until 4, right? Then I was like, wow, this is amazing. Nobody does it during this time. I can look down the street and see there's only 3 houses that have cars in front of them. So clearly those are the homes that are, or those are the people home. It took a lot of the guesswork out. It took a lot of the hard stuff out. People make better decisions in the morning. And so every time everyone's moving one way, I tend to go the other. And so no one was doing a conference in solar. So I thought, okay, well then I'll do it.
What were you hoping to accomplish when you launched this thing?
Unity. I was trying to create a consulting company, or I tried to get people to know who I was, and someone that I heard that had been speaking on stages, which is what I needed to do in order to sell consulting. So I thought. They said it would be years before I could get on stage, and I said, well, if it takes you years, then I'm going to figure out how to do it now, right? And that was I'm like, I don't want to go through the processes and grovel to people and beg, can I be a speaker? Like, why don't I just create the stage and then I'll speak? And I've done the same thing with networking groups, BNI groups. Like, I don't want to take a year and a half to start getting leads from you guys when you trust me. I would rather do it now. So I built a networking group, 86 people it grew to, and they all just started giving leads to me because I was the guy that owned it, right? I instantly had the credibility. I don't like to wait for things. I'd rather create them and just have it be.
Awesome. So the goal then initially was unity within the solar industry then?
Sorry, yes.
Would you say that focus has changed at all for last year to this year? Is there anything else that you're trying to add to that? Or what would you say your focus is this year?
Yeah, unity was last year. Just I saw everybody fighting when I was trying to consult. I saw everyone fighting, and I hate this person, I hate that brand, and then I would meet all of them like, they're all good people. These are good brands. You should probably open your mind a little bit, and that's what SolarCon was for, to heal a lot of the thinking that I had been running into. This year, it's actually the same, just larger circles, different audiences. There's the installation component that we're adding, the EPC side of it, and there's in this industry, there's a lot of things that need to get healed, or a lot of misunderstandings that people need to understand. And I do believe that is the origin of where frustration comes from, is communication. So if you can get them all under one roof, that's the secret sauce. They get to talk with each other now. And if it's over phone, email, or text, you can say anything you want and feel however you want and leave. You can read things wrong. There's no tone or inflection in them. You don't get to see the person at the other end of it. Maybe they're having a bad day. You don't get to see any of this. You put everyone under one roof, all of a sudden, problems that you thought were monumental turn into just nothing, right? So that's the point of it, and that's kind of what we're sticking with. That's our main motivation, is because we see how happy everyone is. We see how it changes business and how it changes decisions and how people interact with each other. It just makes the industry a better place.
Love it.
When you look at what we have going on the agenda, the speakers and the panels, that installation part is, I think, really key. Because it's a sales conference in large part. A lot of the attendees are sales organizations or sales people. But when there's so much hard work that goes into closing the deal and then on to the next lead, on to the next sale, there's not a lot of information there for sales reps or sales orgs to get the perspective of the installer. And so that's part of the agenda that I like a lot, is that veil can get uncovered a little bit. You can really see, oh, that is why that happens that way. Okay, that makes more sense. I trust my installer more because I have this other installer, who's unbiased, is telling me that installer's doing, my installer's doing a good job. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Cool. Or, oh, I get it now. That's why they do that. Maybe there's another way that we can learn to do something else. And now I got some information and I can be constructive about it, as opposed to just hopping to another installer every 6 months or whatever, and jeopardizing your pipeline or being stressed out about what's going on. You can just learn and know that, all right, this is the process. That kind of makes sense, start to finish. And everyone has a little bit of a different process depending on your utility or your AHJ or what's going on, or your installer, right? And you can gain more knowledge just from having a different perspective.
Yeah. For those that are hearing Trey, he is now the CEO. Fusion was just killing it. They were doing a little too well. I was like, I got to get on that action. So I asked Trey if he could be CEO of SolarCon, and he agreed. So everything that happens this year is because of him. Thank you, Trey.
I think you're putting
For good or
blame
for
on me.
bad?
Yeah,
For good or for bad?
If anything goes wrong, Trey.
Yeah, my picture's on social media now, so it's official.
That's fantastic. Well, what are some of the differences, or what should people that came from last year to this year, what are some of the new things that they're going to see, whether it's a vendor or somebody that attended?
A lot cooler conference.
It is a cooler conference. It is centered around Trey. No, no, just for the listeners, Trey came in and he's helping with a lot of the stuff that I don't like to pay attention to. Attorneys, emails, bank accounts, all that. I like to go out there and I like to make the flash, but he makes the business real. So whatever you see at SolarCon, the structure was because of him. The fun was because of the rest of us. But Trey has been very helpful on that. But so what's different at SolarCon? This year we brought in Cirque du Soleil from Las Vegas. We wanted a big opening statement. We wanted everyone there on time.
Watch out for that trademark name.
We brought in performers from Cirque du Soleil.
There's the CEO kicking in right there.
The greatness of fusion coming down on us right now. The performers from Cirque du Soleil, not the brand Cirque du Soleil, but they're putting together a custom show for SolarCon with all the different elements and animals and humans, and they're all going to be on stage, trapeze artists and all of this.
Will there be any fire
Oh, we tried the
there-
pyrotechnics.
or any water?
You'll have to get your ticket and come.
But there's a message. So talking about the unity, right? Talking about the unity of SolarCon, and that's why I originally wanted to start it. The message stems. The first year it was just share your knowledge, share what you love about the industry with other people, which is generally knowledge. And so go find somebody to love was the if you love your knowledge, go find someone to share it with.
That's
right?
awesome.
And it unified. So this year we took it to another level. Anyone that's seen the movie The Greatest Showman, you can find uniqueness, and you can find happiness, and you can find talent in things that maybe you didn't quite think possible, right? Maybe things that the industry has cast out, or in the movie that society has cast out. And so we wanted to bring that message to the industry. If you've cast things out, or if the industry says it's bad, or whatever might be happening, maybe you can actually find some talent or some beauty in it, right? And so the opening statement, what Cirque du Soleil is going to be doing is they're going to be doing the opening scene from The Greatest Showman. That's why we have the trapeze artists and the man in the red jacket with the
Fantastic.
top
Wow.
hat.
Bring the old hanky, Jason.
Yeah. I that stuff gets to me.
And this is the greatest show in solar.
I
So
love it.
That's
we need to
great.
bring
Yeah,
the
I'm
movie.
excited about that.
Man.
Trey told us that that's what you guys are doing. I'm like, dang, that's gonna
We
be
got
fun.
we got the pianist from the Bellagio. He's played in the White House. What was it 51 times? 71?
Yeah, long time.
8 different presidents. What's that?
Don't get all the secrets.
Oh, okay.
Got to come to
This
see.
I'm
a
excited.
preview.
This is what I'm most excited about. The lounge is themed after the Bellagio lounge. So the pianist is going to be in there, and it's just going to be a place to separate yourself in the dead center of the conference to separate yourself and sit there and relax if you need to.
That's where you're going to find me 90% of the time then.
Yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. Let's talk about some of the speakers. Who are some of the speakers that you're excited to hear from, and what are some of the topics that are going to be covered by these guys?
Not to sound cheesy, I'm actually super excited for people to hear from Trey. He's been adverse to speaking in cameras, cell phones sometimes, and even podcasts. But to speak on stage, I think is going to be unique. And I'm excited because he opens up to me quite a bit and says theories and philosophies on business and treating people and handling things. And he's obviously done really well over here at Fusion. And so I'm excited for people to hear that. I'm super excited for John Frampton. He's just a very happy individual and extremely smart and talented. Hayes is coming from Goodleap, $14 billion.
If you've never seen Hayes speak, this guy is fire.
money.
He will fire you up. I worked at Solar City, and he was CSO for all those years. And every time you get up, I'd be like, dude, he's awesome. That's gonna be fun.
I'm stoked. But one of my favorite things is I noticed that a lot of the conferences were doing women's panels, like a women's panel, right? And they kind of said, okay, that's okay. We're good. We check mark. We got the women on. We got them a panel. They're pacified. Let's go on and do our show. And I thought, maybe we need to look a little bit closer at that, right? So there is no women's panel this year. They're on every single stage, on every single panel, as they should be, right? And so I'm pretty excited about that.
Speaking of panels, what are some of the topics of the panels that are going to be going on?
No comment. No. We got a lot. I'd have to pull up the schedule. The one that I'm on is scaling your business. Chrissy Coonrod,
Max Britton from
Max
Sunder,
Britton, Sunder, Vital, Tyler Bastian,
Haysom,
from
Action Solar.
Action.
Yeah, and Lacey Anderson is moderating it.
We have which one are you moderating?
Um,
The Solar exclusive stage.
The lead gen stage?
with lead
We
gen.
have
You guys really came prepared for this question. I'm pretty
Like
impressed.
I said, we'd have to pull out the schedule.
so we have another one like Trey was talking about earlier. It's called Peek Under the Hood and Get to Know Your EPC or something like that. It's actually a bunch of EPC owners up there. To Trey's point, to have people come there and learn stuff, it's different if you can hear it from someone other than your own employer, right?
Yeah.
If your own employer is telling you things, hey, sorry, we need to do this, we need to implement this adder, we need to do this. If they're saying this to you, maybe it'll hit different if you hear the entire industry saying it to you, right? Now you can go back to your employer or your EPC and you can say, okay, everything you said checks out now, right? It's like a quality check for sales orgs. So we have that panel. We even have stuff for EPCs. NAPSEP came and is doing continued education for contractors so they get points on their license. We have an entire stage dedicated to EPC, talking about projected, how to project like scope of work, how to deal with distribution better, all of these different things, right? We have a door-to-door panel for the door-to-door salespeople. And yeah, people listening, this is not a conference specifically for salespeople. Of the entirety of the entire industry, the door-to-door realm only has a singular panel at SolarCon. Everything else, it is an entire solar-related conference. Manufacturing, software, people speaking, EPC owners, huge ones too. Mikey Hines is speaking. You guys are speaking. So pretty excited.
Good. What are you hoping that the keynote speakers and the panels are going to be able to give to the attendees?
I heard that you're giving the greatest speech ever.
We'll see about that.
Their wildest dreams come true.
To give maybe just probably more than anything, maybe just a little bit of a boost, like a little bit of a like, hey, we've been there, we hear you, or maybe like they can realize that they're not the only ones that are there, and maybe they can just at least have someone to talk to that, and they just motivate each other. That's what I've noticed is no matter where people live in the country, I've even seen you guys do this with people in your own market. You just help them, even though they're competitors, and I think that's the beauty of this because it is so young, and I've heard that houses are being built faster than we're putting solar on, so the market penetration is actually declining despite all of us working our butts off. And so I think it's awesome because we can actually create this kind of unified front in the industry as more people come in, like the big names are going to come in. The ones that run the country are going to come in and try to do solar, and we're a unified front that can help each other and grow because there's so much of it. I like that part. I think they can get that. They can find people. They don't even have to. I do consulting for a living. After SolarCon, I hope that no one has to hire anybody to consult because they're going to have so many contacts that they could just call and say, hey, how'd you do this? This is where we're at. Do you want to meet up and get lunch? That kind of stuff.
That's where the value is, I think. You go to these types of events or whatever. You can learn a lot from the speakers or the panels, and you can take your notes and gain different perspectives or see something that someone else is doing on the other side of the country. But the person sitting right next to you is a new networking opportunity where you can pick up the phone, and that's where all the value is. The value is in the people that are sitting to your right, left, in front, and behind you when you're listening to the panel. Even though the panel has great information, you can't do anything with information unless you're working with somebody. Mm-hmm. So you have to expand your network.
What would you say is the hardest thing about putting together a show like this?
Could we do the easiest thing? Could we go easy? Because there's only one. No, I think the hardest thing is, it's indicative of a sales rep, right? Every one of us, we start to procrastinate. We just do. I would have to say tickets are the most difficult. For some reason, the entire country, it's like they're playing a practical joke on us. They're like, we got you. You didn't sleep. You stressed out. They all decide to buy their tickets in the last month. I'm talking like 95% of the tickets get sold. We have broken records already from what we did last year. We have obliterated last year's numbers already, but I just hope for more. And then all of a sudden people, they just buy like this. And it's like, just kidding. We're all of us, the whole country's coming, and we're like, but we only built for 5,000 people or 3,000 people. Why are 15,000 of you coming? 3 weeks ago, that wasn't happening, right?
Trey, why did Fusion decide to sponsor SolarCon again?
Easy, because the first year there was so much value of it, right? When I think I saw Jake just post, there was a little graphic that just said conference, SolarCon conference, and it was Jake, and he was talking in his backyard, maybe, just talking to his phone. Hey, we're gonna have this conference. It's gonna be cool. Blah blah blah. And I saw it posted on Instagram or Facebook, and I instantly messaged him and said, "Hey, what does it take to?" I didn't even go to the website. I didn't even know that there was a platinum sponsor or main sponsor or anything. I just said, "Oh no." What I actually said was, "How much money does it cost to be everywhere on this?" And then we just paid that money, right? And there's tremendous value in it for us as an organization, in terms of working with the people involved with SolarCon, but also in terms of what we learned and the network we were able to create during the conference. And like I already mentioned, that's where all the value is. Value is in all the people you get to work with to accomplish what you're trying to do. And you need people. And so that's what we did. So this next coming, for SolarCon 2, it was a super easy decision to just be like, at the end of SolarCon 1, it was, hey, Jake, it's okay if we be the sponsors again for SolarCon 2? I was like, yeah, sure. But
Just going to cost you double.
yeah, triple, actually. But now it's spreading the love, right?
Jason, what are you most excited for SolarCon 2 for Fusion Power?
Well, I'm really jazzed because already last year, what they were able to pull off, Jake talks about unity. It's funny, when I was in the mortgage industry, there was places for me to go and connect in the industry. And I remember thinking early on in my solar career, like, there's nothing like that. I'm an operations guy, so I feel like, okay, I got to go over to these conferences, and the sales guys are going to these conferences. And, when Trey told me we were going to be the main sponsor for SolarCon, my first thought was like, all right, great, I gotta go, I'll be the operations guy, but already in the first year, they were able to pull off a real unification of sales and operations, just in that first year. I mean, I was interacting with other operations directors and project managers, and seeing just a handful of vendors over there that were actually on that side of the business. To know that this year, the focus is even shifting even more onto that side, to have EPCs talk about their challenges. One thing's for sure, if you're bringing your sales guys to SolarCon and you're not bringing your operations staff, you're going to miss out. You need to pull in your project managers. You need to pull in your operations directors. You need to get those people there, because there's a huge value add for that segment of your organization at SolarCon.
Trey, why do you think reps should attend this conference? We talked about networking with companies, and I guess that applies to reps as well. What other reasons do you think that solar reps should attend SolarCon?
Jake touched on it a little bit. It's just like an exciting thing. Being a door-to-door sales rep is incredibly difficult and stressful and emotionally draining, and you need those types of moments to, I wouldn't say relax, but like really pat yourself on the back and enjoy what you're doing, right? It is an incredible industry. There's opportunity literally every single day that gets created for so many thousands of people, and it's awesome. But it's also super hard, and so come to SolarCon, enjoy what you do, and like take it as a reminder that you're doing something incredible. You get to bring friends along to that. You can change their lives in terms of the money-making opportunities, but also in terms of just like the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Jake, you have probably one of the best pulses on the industry, just because you work with so many groups across the country as you visit them. What are a couple of things that might be just standing out to you right now in the industry?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point to bring up. The entirety of the conference is built off of, because as you mentioned, I do go around and work with a lot of different people, and I hear everything from all parts of the country, and that's one of the unique things. So the conference is actually built around all of those things that I've heard. For example, batteries are going to start playing a larger role because of what happened in Texas and what's happening in California. So we brought in a lot of battery stuff. Even on the EPC side, like what's the acronym that they use for battery language? It's something that even the nerdiest of nerd battery people like Everett Brewer, he's going to geek out on because it's apparently pretty cool stuff over there. Now, sales reps don't know how batteries work, and I'm going to be in that one because batteries are something that have evaded me, I suppose. Batteries are huge because of NEM3 coming up, the Texas thing, banks potentially changing M1s is another one, cash flow issues for EPCs. Let's see. What else is there? I can't remember all of them. But we are hitting everything that has been a major topic. We're hitting for sure.
I think by attending that conference, though, it allows you to be kind of on the front line to see this stuff. Because if I'm a rep, especially if I'm a new rep, I'm just following and I'm trying to learn how to do a door approach, right? I'm not thinking beyond how is financing going to affect this customer that I'm talking to right now. What if I work all this time and I can't get this job funded because of what's happening on the back end with my EPC? Like understanding that whole process, I think there's a major value to all that stuff. And so I going with what Trey was saying, I think it's so important that reps come to this conference and understand a little bit more beyond just the door approach and how to present a proposal to somebody.
You know, I think you're dead accurate on that. I think it's what I was talking about earlier, just being associated with those people. It kind of changed my life a little bit, right? This is what this conference is. If you are having trouble knocking doors and you're having trouble on your pitch, it's because that's the world that you live in. That's what you see on a day-to-day basis. If you go to a conference and you find out people are dealing with, I have no idea how these inverters work or how to even apply them in the sales process or why EPCs are doing this or pays. Like once you understand all of that, all of a sudden the door pitch becomes minuscule. I understand that's your life right now, or maybe even if you're doing virtual, I get it. But when you start to look at larger obstacles and things that you're, the successful people that you're looking up to, when you see what they're focusing on, what they're wanting to learn, all of a sudden it takes you to a whole different level. It opens your eyes to something you have never seen before, which will minimize the problem that you have on the doors so much so that you're going to blow past it much faster than if you didn't go to the conference because you're associating with people that it's not really a big problem. I've heard situations where people are like, oh, I only make $100,000 a year. And then they start hanging out with multi-millionaires and hundreds of millions to billionaires, and all of a sudden, that's no longer an option, $100,000 a year, because they're hearing how these people operate and talk and communicate, and $100,000 is nothing anymore, right? And I think that's the same thing you get as a beginner door-to-door rep. If you go to SolarCon, you start to understand there's a much faster way to get this done.
Perfect. Jason, as you go to this conference and you're looking to network with people in operations and equipment suppliers and software and stuff, are there any specific vendors or specific areas that you're really looking forward to mingling with while we're there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited that there's been an expansion with the batteries vendors going there. We're seeing the attachment rate potentially double, triple this year. And that's just in Arizona. I can't imagine if I'm in California, Texas, some of these other markets. That and some of the other suppliers that are on the vendor list this year, it's really, really exciting. Also, some of the software providers, it's always great to see what's out there. It used to just be that there was one major option out there, and now there's a lot of players out there in this market, and to be able to interact with those people, all the while as I'm going through that floor, meeting the other guys that are in the trenches doing what I do on a daily basis, those other operation guys, those other operation directors, and just being able to kind of chat through the challenges that we're having with the changes in the industry, the supply chain, the finance, all the M1 situations. I'm super jazzed about it.
I think what I'm really excited too is just to see the innovation that's taking place right now. You know, all these shows that we've been to, you see these new software platforms that come out. You know, we had our ideas of things that we wanted to do, and we get to the conference and we're like, dang, somebody's already thought of this, and they thought of it in a different way than we had. Like, it's really cool just to be able to you're running down that track and be able to look over your shoulder and see where is everybody else, who's up ahead, who do we need to follow? You know, what line am I following? And it's just really a good place to be able to get a pulse on where are you and how can you improve and pat your back for the things that you're kind of doing well. Yeah. So it's going to be an awesome event. We're really excited for it. Fusion is very proud to be a sponsor of the show. And Jake, we appreciate you being here today. Tell us, where can people go that haven't bought their tickets yet? And where can they go today so that you guys don't have to have 9,000 people sign up the day before?
Yeah, it's weird to put it on the podcast here, but if I'm slinging tickets on the side, no, just kidding. You go to attendsolarcon.com. It's pretty easy. Follow us on Instagram, SolarCon official.solarcon, and then Facebook, obviously, any of the Facebook groups.
If you would like a 30% discount, you can type in code FusionTix.
Ooh.
That's FusionTix to get a 30% discount to this awesome show. We hope that everybody attends. Guys, appreciate you being here today. Good discussion, Jake. We look forward to the conference.
Thank you.
Good luck as you guys get it all wrapped up as over the next couple weeks before we launch.
Yes, sir.
All
We're gonna
right.
do it.
Thanks, guys.
Over and out.